my purpose in requesting time here is to help set the tone a little bit differently, in that when I see that we have 8 witnesses all lined up on one side of the agenda and 4 people lined up to speak as opening statements, and then I would hear from the 8 witnesses, and at that point maybe you'd hear from someone who happens to disagree with this concept that's before us today called the KIDS Act. And I don't know how I'm supposed to know that officially. I did pick that up in the news. I know it was referred to by the gentlelady from California as the KIDS Act, but we don't have a bill before us, ladies and gentlemen. And so we can't look at the language of a bill and take a position on that language. We're here today examining a concept, a philosophy, a potential bill that's not yet before us. This is the opposite order that we usually conduct business with in this Congress. So I'd suggest that in the future we turn that back around, actually have a bill before us that we can have witnesses testify to. All of us have sympathy for children who were brought here without knowledge that they were breaking the law. I do not think that the definition of a child cannot form intent doesn't stick when I look at the way we punish people for committing other crimes. And so I would disagree to that definition to some degree with the chairman of this subcommittee on that particular subject. But whose fault is it? It's not the children's fault if they're children. It's not the children's fault if they are unaware. It's not the children's fault if their parents brought them into the United States. They're all subject to the application of the law. Then whose fault is it? Is it the parents' fault? I think so. And is any one of this witness panel, these 4 or the next 4, are they going to advocate that we punish the parents for bringing their children into a situation where they all find themselves in contradiction of the law, in violation of the law? Is this being set up as a broader picture of a backdoor amnesty so that all people that are unlawfully in the United States, with those exceptions that the Senate has identified as those that have committed a felony and those who have committed those 3 mysterious misdemeanors, they would be exempt, but otherwise everybody in America is targeted to get legalized by the Senate Gang of 8, that maybe implicitly in an action that might come from this bill. And I'm very concerned about that, because if you legalize people that are here in this country unlawfully, and you waive the application, even if there were children, and you waive the application of the law on their parents, especially if they're the ones that brought them to commit this act, then who do you enforce the law against? If everybody that hasn't committed the felony is now legalized, or their family members to be reunified, and everybody that comes after this point, when do you start to enforce the law if we can't enforce it today? On the next one that arrives with a 1-week-old baby? Maybe? I don't think so. I think what's on course here, advocated by our witnesses ahead of us, I expect, and those that will follow them, is we'll just do this little sliver here because this one tugs at our heart. It tugs at my heart too. But I listened to the subcommittee chairman's statement when he said he wants a remedy that will last a lifetime. I think we have a higher responsibility than that. I think we have to preserve the rule of law so that this country can last for many, many generations into the future. Not our lifetime, but the lifetime of the United States of America. And if you exempt the rule of law with regard to immigration, even a part of it, then what you've done is you've suspended the law in a category. And if you can suspend the law and exempt it for people that are here illegally, for people that will come here illegally, and those who have, by the way, according to the Senate language, have been deported in the past, and you invite them to come back to the United States again, then what you've done is you've sacrificed the rule of law on the altar of political expediency, and the result will be American immigration law will not be set by Americans, again. It'll be set by the people that can circumvent the border security that we are promised. But I will promise you, it will not come. It did not come in 1986. This administration is not serious about enforcing the law. They will make whatever promises they need to do in order to do the legalization they want to do. And at the end of this thing, it's citizenship, because they're willing to sacrifice the rule of law for political power. And we have 100 million Americans today of working age that are not in the workforce. And we are talking about giving a reward for breaking the law. We must take this back to the essential fundamental principle. I appreciate the chairman yielding me some time, and I'm looking forward to the testimony of the witnesses. I'm not hopeful that I'm going to hear that statement in any of the testimony that comes before this committee.